Hi, good to see you guys.
We all saw the horrible image of the mangled bridge, and I thought, here we have a golden opportunity. We can fix this bridge and name it after the outstanding Jewish immigrant who we have so far failed to recognize for his most generous deed, his outstanding generosity to the town, which is a shining act of good character that there would be no better time than now to bring to light. Oh, I'm just very proud of the town and the county for doing this. I'm extremely grateful for all the people who participated in this with all their likes and shares on Facebook. That's what made it happen. That's the magic of social media. All I did was put an idea up, and off it went.
Pretty good idea.
It was an idea. I knew it was a good idea, but not all good ideas happen. This one did, fortunately.
It's going to be a very short program because of the weather, but we'd just like to invite everybody out and thank the people that were involved in getting this bridge rebuilt and get it back open the way it is today.
So who's going to be the first person to drive across?
I think we'll let Dwayne Ratcliffe drive across the bridge. He's a lifelong resident of the town here in Paoli and lives just on the other side of the bridge, so he's going to be the first person to drive across.
And the clock's about ready to strike here, so I'll let you get on your way.
All right, thank you very much.
Thank you.
On behalf of the commissioners, I'd just like to welcome everybody here today as we officially reopen what was currently known as the South Gospel Street Bridge here in Paoli. And I know it's cold out here, so we're going to keep this as short and sweet as we can. Therefore, I'm going to turn it over to Richard, and he'll take it from here.
I want to echo the sentiment, Don. Thank everybody for coming. We know it's kind of a red letter day for Paoli, getting this thing open again. It's been 2 years and 9 days, and it's past time to get this thing going again. We want to open the bridge, and we want to dedicate the bridge. The bridge is going to be known as the Saul, Strauss, James M. Tucker Memorial Bridge, and we feel like that was a fitting thing. It's a historic bridge, and these were a couple of historic figures in our history. So that's why we're here today, and we want to thank everybody that's been instrumental in making this happen. The engineering company, the construction company, everybody that participated in that. And I'm going to turn this over just a little bit to JC here. He wants to say a few words about his Uncle James, and then I'll be back on here in just a second, okay?
Hi everybody, I'm J.C. Tucker, and on behalf of the Tucker family, what a thrill it is for the commissioners to name this bridge after James M. Tucker, my uncle. James M. Tucker lived from 1930 till his death in 1995 at 311 South Gospel Street. And from 1930 until his death, his business was on the square in Paoli as an attorney. So he passed through this bridge thousands of times and always appreciated it. I'm 71 years old, and I know you young people, and most of you are young, probably don't know a lot about James M. Tucker. James M. Tucker was born in Salem, Indiana in 1908. He went to Indiana University Law School, and when he graduated in 1930, he came to Paoli, Indiana to practice law. His father, James L. Tucker, was judge of the joint Orange-Washington Circuit Court. Well, James L. Tucker was defeated in the election of 1930. And so in 1933, the law firm of Tucker & Tucker was formed on the square in Paoli. James L. Tucker, James M. Tucker. James M. Tucker was the only Republican elected to a statewide office in 1938. He was elected Secretary of State of Indiana. At that time, that was the most desirable job in Indiana because it had all the patronage of all the license branches in the state. Uncle Jim didn't like that because he said for every 100 applicants he got, he ended up with 1 ingrate and 99 enemies. Well, in 1940, he was reelected as Secretary of State. There were only 2-year terms. But because the Democrats controlled the legislature, they took the patronage away from the Secretary of State, thinking that would really disappoint him. Well, it didn't. He didn't like that at all, and he was thankful not to have it anymore. So he was elected 2 times. He was the youngest ever elected statewide officer when he was first elected in 1938. When World War II came out, James M. Tucker resigned as Secretary of State to enlist in the Navy. He became a lieutenant commander on an LST, and after 2 landings at the Salerno landing, he was injured so badly that he was a disabled veteran and no longer able to serve. So that ended his World War II service. After that, James M. Tucker continued to serve the state of Indiana in various capacities. Most notably, he served 10 years as the chairman of the Indiana Conservation Commission, which is now known as the Indiana Department of Natural Resources. James M. Tucker continued to practice law, and I joined the firm in 1971. The law firm of Tucker & Tucker has continued now with 2 others, 2 daughters of mine, Jenny Tucker Young and Marilyn Tucker Fullen. So James M. Tucker is a fitting person to be honored for the bridge. I say that with all family pride and the pride in knowing one of the most outstanding men Orange County, Indiana has ever produced. And thank you for that honor.
More than welcome. Do we have any Saul Strauss ancestors in the crowd?
Hi, I'm Kevin Fleming. I'm not an ancestor of Saul Strauss, and I'm also not an expert on the history of Saul Strauss, but I am an expert in what Saul Strauss meant to this community. I was I was 9 years old, I guess, in 1960, and that's when Saul Strauss passed away. He had what was then called a dry goods store on the northwest side of the square. I remember riding my bicycle around the square and wondering about that strange man that was in that store. He was someone who kept to himself quite a bit, being a Jewish immigrant in the era of World War II and Hitler. So he was quite grateful to be here. When he passed away, he surprised everybody with his will by generously giving lots of money to the town of Paoli. And my personal experience with that was through my membership in the local Boy Scout troop. I and 9 other fellow members of the Scout troop were fortunate enough to benefit from his generosity, and fortunate enough also to have a wise and good scoutmaster who used part of it to marshal us through the requirements to obtain the rank of Eagle Scout, and for which we had a banquet and a rather elaborate celebration at the French Lick Sheraton Hotel, because 10 Eagle Scout Awards was at the time, the largest single contingency of Eagle Scout Award honorees at the same time. I don't know if that's still the case or not. It also occurred to me that this town had really not done anything that I knew of to properly honor Saul Strauss for his remarkable act of generosity toward this town. He was a little shunned. I don't know of any overt discrimination shown toward him, but he was a little bit shunned because he was Jewish, Yet, I can't think of a greater act of Christianity than his act of turning the cheek and calling this his adopted town and giving all of his wealth to all of us, all of the citizens of this town. And we've all benefited from it ever since. Not just Boy Scouts, Girl Scouts did too, and so have many other civic organizations where the money is dedicated to go to. But in pondering the situation, I thought maybe Facebook could come in handy in this case. So I posted a picture of this bridge, and I said it would really be a great idea if when this bridge is fixed, it be named after Saul Strauss, be named the Saul Strauss Memorial Bridge. And I'm extremely grateful that lots of other people from the Paoli area in particular, or Paoli natives who saw it, agreed, and it got many likes and many shares, and evidently got its way to one of the commissioners I read somewhere, so here we all are. I'm sorry if you don't like the cold. I'm the guy. Sorry. So this has a happy ending, and I'm thrilled to death. And I want to thank the commissioners for what you've done. I think this is a day that Paoli and Orange County can be very proud. Thank you.
Okay, Robert Henderson here representing the Historic Society. Would you like to say a few words?
Not really, but we just want to say congratulations, and we want to thank the commissioners. And this is a red letter day for Orange County, where we can preserve a real tangible piece of our past and a real treasure for Orange County for future generations. So thank you for making that possible.
Thank you for what you do. I think without further ado, if we don't have anybody else that wants to speak, I think we're going to get this down the road. Also, I want to thank Lost River Market and Deli for providing refreshments today. That coffee stuff comes in pretty handy on a day like today. And I think we've got a designated first driver to go across this bridge. I think Dwayne Ratcliffe's here somewhere. So we're going to move the barricades, and we're going to let Dwayne make a pass through the bridge here. Hope he doesn't hit anything. Don't hit anything.
We could all do jump.
Where do you want us, Richard? Facing that way, or?
I'd say everybody stand. I don't know, I'm not the master of ceremonies. Come on, Bill, we got to stay. That's icy.
This one on TV.
Over at ISO. Right.
On the walkway over there, and we'll be able to cross the bridge.
The metaphor I'm thinking about.
They're the ones that actually came in and did the hard work. I was on the front end of it, putting some things together, but they're the ones that actually came out here and made it happen.
I just want to say thank you to you guys, because you guys get all the blessings for this.
Well, thank them right back there. They're the ones.
Thank you guys so much.
And I know Sean was excited that when he was doing the bridge, he continued to get free coffee at the store all the time. So he thinks that's for life. So I don't know if he may have to.
So when did you first get involved in this project?
About 1.5 years ago. VS Engineering, these guys right here, Jim Barker and his crew, contacted me, along with the county. Mr. Tucker was involved, and the insurance company was involved at the time. And we started putting together some plans for rehabilitating it and putting it back up. The commissioners jumped on board, and people think that 2 years is a long time. But when you think about how bad a condition this was in and the process that it had to go through in order to get to this point, it's pretty remarkable, in my opinion, that 2 years after the fact, we're standing on this bridge, and it's due to everybody's hard work and cooperation and communication. I can't say enough about Orange County, about Mr. Tucker, about VS Engineering, about the commissioners. It was a very successful product, and my guys, they made this happen. So well, thank you.
Had you attempted anything like this, comparable to this before?
We have rehabilitated a lot of these bridges over the years, probably as much as anybody in the state.
Yeah.
Jim Barker here with VS Engineering, he has probably done more design work than anybody on these type of bridges. So, we have worked on a lot of iron bridges and rehabilitated a lot of historic iron bridges. But to do something like this that was as in bad a shape as what it was, it was unique.
Now the county put you on a little deadline on their contract, right?
To a degree, yeah.
And so how was that to get through the weather and everything else to get work done?
Once again, their deadline was very reasonable, and we planned our work out, and again, the cooperation was just amazing. Not one time did we have any problems, and worked through what issues we did have, and we have what we have today.
And what was going through your mind as Dwayne Ratcliffe drove across that bridge a while ago?
Just, it was pretty cool. and I hope that everything worked when we walked across the bridge.
All right, thank you.
And again, Sean Cleghorn, Lee Reitmeyer, and Dan Reitmeyer. Let's give them a round of applause, guys.
All right.
These guys made it happen.
Thank you, guys.
I'm an engineer and I do bridges, and gradually I've found the historic ones more interesting than the new ones. So this is what I do.
So when did you first come on board for this project?
A few days after the wreck, but then it languished for a while, and then got serious after 8 months or so.
Did you say, hey, I do these things? Is that how you came about?
No, I waited. I didn't want to barge in.
Okay, so go ahead and talk about what were some of the challenges that you had for this bridge.
Well, when I first saw it, I said, oh my God. And then, but I knew that you dig in, you work it piece by piece, and eventually, if you have the persistence, you get it back together. I view these things as works of art, but they're functional art, and that's a great pleasure. I feel that they give more to the community than just taking a car across the stream. It gives us a sense of place and a sense that we belong, and I really enjoy doing this sort of work. I got to tell you about these.
Okay, go ahead.
These are original. There's very few Cleveland Bridge Company bridges left, and they have animals on them. There's a frog up there that's very hard to see, and on each side of the plate, I feel that it's a little bird pecking away. See it right there? It's in the sun, but you can kind of see the birds on each side.
Anything else that you'd like to say about this project and this moment here today at the dedication?
It's a great pleasure. After a year's hard work, the CLR came through like champs, and the commissioners and Mr. Tucker, the attorney, all supported it, and it's really great.
Well, you've got a community here that's very proud to have this bridge back. Thank you so much for your work.
This will be done in bronze, but this is the print.
Okay, and this will go on the
gonna go right next to
the limestone plate right next there.
Back there.
The 2001, and so we'll have a bronze plate to commemorate 2017 restore and rebuild after accident and collapse.
Correct.
Okay, terrific. Got traffic coming.